Dr. Rupal. Welcome, Dr. Rupal.
Hello, thank you.
Very good morning, everybody. I am Asmita, a certified metabolic health practitioner from dialects.in, India's first and the only award-winning low-carb platform. It's my absolute pleasure to introduce Dr. Rupal Dalal to the audience today morning. Let me just quickly take you through the introduction. Delight was founded in 2014 by Anup Singh, a silver medalist from IIT Roorkee and the recipient of Icons of India Award. Anup is the pioneer of the low carb movement in India, with his path-breaking protocol of 100 gram carbs per day maximum, given by him in 2012. That made not only LCHF but remission of even type 2 diabetes possible for Indian vegetarians. In 2021, DLife launched its diploma course, which is the only course approved under NSDC partner, the Government of India, in this segment, and the only course with the global biggest 144 hours of CPD hours credit. Anup Singh, along with Shashikant Iyengar, is the co-organizer of this Metabolic Health Conference today. I am honored to introduce Dr. Rupal Dalal as a steadfast advocate of children's health and nutrition at this Metabolic Health Conference hosted by DLab.in. Welcome, ma'am. Dr. Dalal's journey exemplifies her relentless pursuit of knowledge and unwavering dedication. She earned her bachelor's degree in medicine and surgery from Topiwala National Medical College and VYL Nair Hospital in Mumbai, where she also completed clinical clerkship. She then expanded her medical expertise in the United States, gaining invaluable experience at Cook County Children's Hospital and Columbus Hospital in Chicago, Illinois. Currently, Dr. Dalal is Adjunct Associate Professor in the Department of Tara at IIT Bombay, where she mentors UNICEF Fellows on various nutrition projects. She also provides pediatric urgent care at Santa Clara Valley Medical Hospital in San Jose, USA. She has also collaborated with various state and district governments to develop screening protocols for severely malnourished children as well as mother healthcare projects. Please join me in welcoming a visionary, a healer, and an inspiration to all of us, Dr. Rupal Dalal. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
As a medical doctor, ma'am, can you share more about your work at IIT Bombay, including the areas of your study and projects that you undertake?
So, actually, I'm trained in US. I was trained more in terms of, emergency, urgent issues in pediatrics, children, right? When I moved back to India in 2006, I started rotating in one of the charitable hospital in Mumbai. And what I saw that many of these children were dying of diarrhea and pneumonia. This is in Mumbai, okay? And it was kind of very sad because in US we don't see children dying of such diseases like diarrhea, pneumonia, and there was no proper infrastructure to save these children. Okay, and I almost quit and decided to move back to US because in terms of how to save these children, because that's where I was trained in, my mentor, Dr. Amdekar, he said, just go and make a round in a charitable hospital. So I made a round and I saw that each and every child was undernourished. They were malnourished, they were undernourished. So what was happening is these children were kind of coming back to hospital again and again with infectious disease, right? And because there was no proper infrastructure to save these children, many times they would come late in the stage of disease and it was difficult to save them. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's when, mentor said that if you want to save children, you have to go in the community. Don't be in a tertiary care because unfortunately, in a community hospital, we don't have sophisticated equipment to save the children. And that's where I started my journey in 2007, joined one of the NGO who was working in slums of Mumbai somewhere, something like Dharavi, but it was Dhobigat. And that's where my journey in terms of nutrition began, because I needed to figure out why the children were becoming malnourished. And during that journey, what happened, not only, of course, first 4 5 years, we were not getting the results, you know. And as we started practicing more and more, we realized the loopholes. We realized why children were getting undernourished. And what we noticed that older children were obese. So younger children were short and thin, but as
Yeah.
they were getting older, they were, getting belly fat. They were becoming obese, right? So it was basically we were looking at double burden of malnutrition, and with that, we were also seeing children who were anemic, who had micronutrient deficiency. So there were triple burden of malnutrition, which I experienced. So, so this is where, I understood, in fact, my team, we understood what were the issues that the children were facing. So there were a lot of issues were there, which we will discuss. And we also presented our data in World Breastfeeding Conference, a lot of international conferences. And IIT Bombay saw this data. Okay. And they said that, okay, and I approached many doctors, in fact. And, as you know, doctors are still not kind of ready to take what we say, that how children can improve in their nutrition by just small things. And IIT Bombay saw that data, and I get a call from IIT Bombay saying that we are very much interested in what you're doing. Would you like to join as a professor to train us? Because as engineers, we want to help. We want to come up with a solution, and you know that engineers always have this, kind of they come up with this amazing solution for complex problems. And that's when I joined, IIT Bombay. And here, what we are doing is we are not only I'm training engineering students and engineering professors also on nutrition, but also creating health spoken tutorial. This are health spoken tutorial, which are we have created 105 10 minutes audio visual tutorials, which are dubbed into 15 constitution languages. And they are also getting dubbed in 20 to 23 tribal languages of India. Okay, and these tutorials are not just on maternal, infant, young child nutrition, but we are also focusing on insulin resistance, carbohydrate, protein, fats, what are good fats, So all that we are basically inculcating adult nutrition also through these tutorials. Because we, as IIT Bombay professor, I also work with various districts and various state government in capacity building, right? One is because we want to kind of tackle this issue at a national level, right? And bring out this important understanding of not just undernutrition, but also metabolic health. Okay, in healthcare workers which are hired by government, So we have health department and we have ICDS department, women and child development. So what we do capacity building, so this knowledge can be passed on to the last mile. So this is where IIT Bombay comes in.
Yeah. Very interesting. So, ma'am, in your talk, you just highlighted that the malnutrition persists even with the obese children, who are most mistakenly perceived as healthy children in our society. So, can you please explain the causes and consequences of nutrition deficiencies these children have, such as B12 deficiencies, vitamin D deficiencies, and folate deficiencies in very young children, and what are the health impacts they have in the long run?
Okay, so being a pediatrician, I will focus right from pregnancy, because your pregnancy nutrition is very critical to have a healthy baby. Okay,
Yeah.
so and not only that, I'll also focus on infant nutrition, because first 6 months it's only mother's milk which baby is getting, and then
Yes.
6 months onward it's complementary feeding, and then going forward. So starting from pregnancy, actually, you will not believe it, but we have a huge issue of low birth weight babies. Okay, and this is true not just in tribal mothers or rural mothers or uneducated mothers. This is true even in urban areas where mothers are educated. So what is happening that mothers are putting on weight, okay, but it's not that weight is not going into the babies. I'm talking about educated mothers, privileged mothers. So
Mhm.
the kind of nutrition that they're eating, basically what they're eating is predominantly carbohydrate rich food. So they are getting obese. But
Yeah.
what baby requires, the
Mhm.
growth of baby in the womb, it's basically protein and good fats, right?
Yeah.
Because as you know, the brain development is 50%
Yeah.
brain is fat, right? So they're not eating good fats.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, they're eating fat, which are fried food they're eating, but it's basically all seed oil fried food.
Yeah.
And in the name of craving for in pregnancy, they're
Mhm.
eating anything and everything, rather than focusing very much on protein.
Mhm.
So, and another thing is because you're not focusing on protein, and also most of the mothers are eating predominantly vegetarian food,
Okay.
and they're not having enough. Even vegetarian mothers are not having enough dairy products.
Mhm.
What I would say, cheese, paneer, and it's not that mothers can't afford. Like for example, tribal mothers,
Mhm.
their regular diet is non-vegetarian, right?
Yeah.
Tribals, right?
Yeah.
But because of so many myths which are
Mhm.
being passed on to this women, they're not eating the traditional food. They are still focused on rice and dal and predominantly wheat, right?
Yeah.
So again, those babies are born to, if I because I work a lot in tribal areas, those babies are 1.2, 1.5 kg, 1.6 kg, really low birth weight. Okay, now when you don't eat animal source food, these mothers are deficient in vitamin B12. They are deficient in folate, right? They're deficient in iron, they're deficient in zinc, choline. These are all the nutrients which are required for baby's growth,
Yeah.
specifically for baby's brain, right? So neural tube, which is basically start developing at day 21 post-conception, right
Mhm.
there, if mother does not have enough B12, choline, and folate in her diet, this
Mhm.
baby will develop cognition problem, neural tube defects, a lot of other complications of folate deficiency besides low birth weight. Okay, so that was pregnant mother's diet on B12 deficiency, and now this mother delivers. Now her breast milk will not be enough in terms of B12 and folate.
Yeah.
Okay, it'll
Yeah.
not, it will be deficient in iron, it will be deficient in zinc, choline. Now, so first 6 months, you have only breast milk. Okay,
Yeah.
so not only babies are not getting enough breast milk because mothers don't know proper techniques of breastfeeding, and that's where we come in. Really, we have improvised this cross-cradle hold, which, and we have done research in one of the district called Banaskata, where we
Mhm.
have published this research in a maternal child nutrition journal, which is a international journal,
Mhm.
where we showed that if mothers were shown this proper technique of breastfeeding using cross-cradle hold, and there are
Mhm.
45 points of counseling,
Mhm.
babies after 3 months of age,
Mhm.
these babies were 3 times healthier
Mhm.
in terms of weight. Okay, and mothers who were shown traditional hold, which because we had two, like a control group and experimental group. So
Mhm.
babies who were shown traditional hold, actually mothers,
Mhm.
those babies were 3 times undernourished. So it's not also quantity of breast milk, but also
Mhm.
the quality, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Quality,
Exactly.
when the quality comes, when you
Yeah.
have mothers who have not taken enough animal source food, they will have less type 1 nutrient in the diet. So type 1 nutrients are basically your all your vitamins and some of the minerals like your calcium, your iron, right? So again, now these babies will have deficiency of B12. Now B12, again, I told you that it's important for your brain, right? Your neurological development. Folate
Yeah.
is also quite critical. Iron, right? So these
Yeah.
children are iron deficient. They are
Mhm.
vitamin D deficient. They are basically zinc deficient. Children don't grow. Children
Mhm.
don't have quality, like, good brain development. Neurologically, they developmentally they're behind. Okay.
Mhm.
And post 6 months, what happens? These children are again fed predominantly rice and dal water, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you look at all these studies, which most of the study says that in India, children are getting maximum 2 to 3 food groups, but these 2 to 3 food groups are not healthy food groups. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying, right? Like predominantly healthy, what I'm saying, it not necessarily healthy in terms of, but they are protein deficient diet, you
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah.
they're getting predominantly grain, rice or wheat. Okay, they're predominantly getting dal, but it's watery. It's not thick dal, watery
Yeah.
dal, and they're
Mhm.
getting some vegetables here and there, right? Now, vegetables are not good source of protein. Your children required, good, first class protein, right? So children just stop growing.
Yeah.
Initially, they don't grow because mothers don't know how to breastfeed.
Yeah.
Quality is not good. Quality of breast milk is not good. Now,
Yeah.
6 months later, when they have another opportunity of growing, rather than getting eggs, rather than getting non-veg children meats, the children and Western children can also get paneer or dahi and all. They are not getting it.
Yeah.
So obviously, the children have stunting. They have underweight. They have poor, developmentally delayed children, and then once they're a little bit older or even younger age group, children are started on biscuits. They are what they do, mothers, they basically put biscuit and little bit of cow milk, and then they make like a cereal, and they give it to children. And this is, we have seen this in starting from 4 months of age, very very prominent actually in slums and rural areas. And then educated mother starts on Cerelac, again, cereal-based food. They start them on, fruit puree, and they are so obsessed about fruits, and vegetables. But I understand you're giving vegetables and fruit, but where is your protein, right? So they have so much of, this mental block that, oh, I cannot start egg from 6 months of age. I can't start meat. I can't start fish. They wait till 1 year of age. So I think this is very very critical, because all your micronutrients which you mentioned, they all come from animal source food.
Very true.
And children appetite is so small. If you look at your 9-month-old, their stomach capacity is only 250 ml, right? So in that small capacity, how are you going to give so much of dal, or even rice? Because what it will do is to just kind of stimulate the insulin production, and these children go into insulin resistant very early on. Okay, and they start putting on weight, but it's all basically what they're putting on is fat. It's
Yes.
not muscle mass. They're not putting on lean mass. They're not growing in height. And this is an issue in India. And I'm really kind of very, very kind of passionate about passing on this information to healthcare workers. And by improving their own diet, they understand what it takes to improve their energy level, what it takes to improve their metabolic health, and then they can pass on that information to mothers that they take care of, or pregnant mothers, ANC mothers, postnatal mothers. So this is what I feel is, and this the issues. And as you know, B12 deficiency has long-term repercussion, right?
Yeah.
Developmental delay, memory loss, in fact, demyelination, all these issues are there. So I think,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
that's what we
Yeah.
work on.
Yeah. So as we understand, it's very important that the kids of very small age need to be fed with nutrient-dense food, because they have a very limited capacity to ingest the solid food from outside. Having said that, Doctor, you have some very interesting data collected through your work all over India on the statistics on nutrition and solutions. Could you just run through the presentation that you would like to share with the audience today?
Do you want me to share it, or do you want to share it?
Uh, Maybe I can, you can just share the screen and run us through the presentation. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. Okay, can you see my presentation?
Yes.
So this particular presentation is on statistics, on nutrition indicators. And these are again, mainly coming from NFHS data and CNNS data. And these are both data are basically Indian government data. Here, what I would show you Okay, this is NFHS 5 data, National Family Health Survey. We have another one coming up. Very soon they'll be releasing that data also, but this is the latest data so far. And here you can see this is basically data for 0 to 5 years of age. And this is month-wise data in terms of stunting, which is height, underweight, which is your weight as per your age, and your wasting, which is your thinness as per your height. Okay, so as you can see, from 0 to 2 months, you can see 30% children are already stunted, wasted, and underweight. Okay, now 0 to 2 months, that encompasses your birth weight as well as how children do in first 2 months of life. And obviously, children are born small, and then the way they should grow on breast milk, they are not growing. And this is just, it's not that mothers don't have enough breast milk. They have ample of breast milk. It doesn't matter whether she's rich, poor, literate, illiterate. It's just that the techniques are poor. So they are not putting babies on breast correctly. So babies are not able to, suck that milk out, right? And there is a problem with milk transfer. And this you can see it continuously, up to 6 months of age. There is not much change in stunting or wasting or, even underweight. From 7 to 12 months of age, as you can see, during this phase, babies are started on complementary feeding. So again, there is not much change during that. Babies are still, pretty much underweight and stunted. But let's see what happens at 1 to 2 years of age here in this category. Look at this, the red bar, which is stunting. Suddenly, stunting increases. And stunting means short height. So this chronic malnutrition leads to stunting. So because child is not being fed properly in the womb, as well as for 6 months and from 6 months to 12 months in terms of complementary feeding, stunting suddenly you start showing up after 1 year of age. That means children have not grown, has not gained weight, and suddenly you see stunting, right? And this is basically stunting means, high length for age below -2 standard deviation on Z score. Okay, and as stunting develops, you can see underweight also increases after 1 year of age. And here you can see data up to 5 years of age. And as stunting and underweight increases, your wasting get masked, in a sense that your child is short, the child needs less amount of weight for that height, right? So the wasting is acute malnutrition that get masked. And here you can see almost, 36% children total here. If you look at this bar over here, sea blue, 36% children are stunted in India. Underweight, about 32% children are stunted, and wasting, about 19% children are wasted. They are too thin for their height. Okay, and male and female, female, as you can see, initially, in stunting, you can see male predominance. Okay, underweight also male predominance, and wasting also you can see male predominance. Female are a little bit protected. Nature protects them, even though there is a definitely, families tend to kind of tend more to boys. Females are protected. Okay, so I'm glad that our species are protected, because we do bear pregnancy, and we do bear next generation. So we do have nature's protection. Now, looking at stunting data, look at this is state-wise stunting data. Meghalaya has the highest percentage stunting, and you'll be glad to know that we are going to work in Meghalaya at a state level, and we'll be working in all the districts of Meghalaya. Bihar is the next one. So basically, all the districts have, stunting. Stunting should not be more than 2.3%, overall. But you can look at this, the Puducherry, the best performing state, also has almost 20% stunting, which is 10 times higher than what is recommended by WHO. Okay, and you can see the whole India is red. Okay, and this is the state of our children under 5. If children are stunted, their IQ is lost permanently. They're lost. Okay, IQ is lost, and that is the issue. If you look at average height of a 19-year-old male and female in India, this is as per a Lancet. Average height is 5'4", and average height for men, and for women it's only 5'2". So you can imagine we are already stunted society. And at this point, government is thinking, no, we are short people, so they're thinking of lowering the our chart so automatically stunting will disappear, because if you don't give the solution, and just by looking at the problem you see that we are stunted, unfortunately we will have then shorter population, even shorter than what we have right now. And again, if you look at underweight data, again you can see Bihar, Gujarat, and if you look at Bihar, Gujarat, Maharashtra, so these are Gujarat and Maharashtra well kind of performing a state in terms of economics, but it doesn't matter whether you're a rich state or not so rich state. It is prevalent all over. This is about wasting, acute malnutrition, so too thin. When you see some of those photographs from Africa, you see it's a lot of those thin babies, but that's issue is there in India as well. As you can see, all the well-performing states are worse in terms of wasting. you know this is minimum dietary diversity. So this is for children from 6 months to 23 months of age. Minimum dietary diversity includes minimum frequency and minimum dietary diversity. Sorry, so I'm talking about MAD. So I want to make sure that we have minimum adequate diet. They should have minimum frequency and minimum dietary diversity. Only 11% children are getting minimum adequate diet. So if you look at minimum adequate diet over here, only 11 to 12% children are getting, which is very, very low. Okay, these children are only getting grains and just watery dal, that's it. Waist to hip ratio, if you look at it, 15 to 19 years of age, look at waist to hip ratio in India. 46% children, young girls, 15 to 19 years, have high waist to hip ratio. Okay, men 28%. Now, these are the girls who eventually basically get into pregnancy. So here, this is your 20 to 29 years of age. 53% women are entering into pregnancy with a high waist to wrist ratio. So you can imagine the metabolic health of these girls, women. Okay, and problem is, once they have high waist to hip ratio, the risk of insulin resistance is very high. And this mothers, when they become pregnant, high risk of gestational diabetes and your hypertension, okay, preeclampsia. And then children who are developing in the womb, they are at risk of developing insulin resistance very early on, once they're born. And they also have complications, right? CNS data, this is again health and nutrition indicators, 5 to 19 years of age. This is person of 5 to 9 years of age. With high triglyceride level. Now, we always think of high triglyceride as adults, right? But look at the children. Like West Bengal, 67% children have high triglyceride levels. So look at all this, huge number of all these states with a ridiculous amount of high triglyceride level in 5 to 9 years of age. This is high blood sugar. Okay, so basically pre-diabetic or diabetic. So you can see 22% children in Manipur are basically has high blood sugar. Again, this is glycosylated hemoglobin, HbA1c. Okay, pre-diabetic or diabetic, more than recommended by WHO. And then again, you can see Goa and Haryana has highest number of children, with high HbA1c. And again, you look at all the micronutrient deficiency also in 5 to 9 years of age and 10 to 19 years of age. This is government data also. So look at all this deficiency. Folate deficiency, almost 40+% children are folate deficient. B12 also, And if you look at metabolic health over here, look at 40% children who are 5 to 9 years of age have high triglyceride, and 25% children in 10 to 9 years of age. Okay. And again, look at all the different socioeconomic conditions, your girls and boys. That's all the data, if anybody would like to see, this is again coming from CNNS, socioeconomic conditions. Richest has the issue for sure. Here, what we are seeing is basically compound annual growth rate of obesity, and look at the worsening of boys 5 to 9 years of age and girls 5 to 9 years of age. So compound annual growth rate of obesity is very, very rapid. 12.5% in boys and 8.4% in girls. This is an emergency. So stunting, it's just not stunting, it's also your obesity growing older. Okay, and this is very interesting data. In lowest wealth quintile in urban area, that's the one which is highest, your lowest quintile urban population. But in rural population, the highest quintile has an issue. You can see it over here. Even the third quintile has an issue. 10-year percentage increase in compound annual growth rate. Okay, and again, micronutrient deficiency, I already discussed about it. Just look at this, all this, folate deficiency, B12 deficiency, and this is forms of malnutrition. So our children are thin, they are short, okay, and now they're becoming fat, once they grow a little older. So again, this is the double burden of malnutrition. Anemia, this is the triple burden. So you can see anemia in adolescent. This is all because they are not having enough iron, B12, and your folate. These are the causes of anemia, nutritional causes of anemia. So they're not eating animal source food, specifically eggs and meats and fish. Again, same thing, 5 to 9 years of NCD data by government and older children. So here I'm going to stop and basically, just wanted to tell you the issue at India level,
Yeah,
it's huge. It's huge, isn't it?
huge.
Yeah.
Thank you for presenting this stark reality in front of the audience today, ma'am. Actually, this brings me to another question for you. There has been a very alarming rate of puberty age coming down in the children in India. So, what do you think are causes behind those? And what would be your advice to the parents in protecting their children from snacking on unhealthy food items like kurkure and many other fried foods like fries
Yeah.
and burgers and pizzas and things like that?
Yeah. No, the issue is,
Mhm.
as I told you, after 6 months of age, children are eating predominantly carbohydrate food. Okay,
Yeah.
they're not eating protein, which increases lean mass. Okay,
Mhm.
now when you have excessive amount of carbohydrate, as children grow, they put on a lot of fat. Okay,
Yeah.
and they also as they grow a little older, they develop something called PCOS. Okay,
Yes.
especially girls, right?
Yes.
Polycystic ovarian, and that is causing a lot of hormonal imbalances,
Mhm.
and that basically pushes children into early puberty. Okay,
Yes.
so I remember during our age, like children, girls used to get period at 13, 14. Now they get period by 10, 11, and
Yes.
even probably early on. And
Yeah.
that's all because of nutrition.
Mhm.
When you have excessive amount of insulin, it definitely causes puberty, early puberty. And
Mhm.
another thing is, uh, what I also see is young children are, like, if you travel anywhere or even at home, children are given snacks, right? So even in their tiffin boxes, they get fast food. They love, and this is available even in canteens like samosas and pizzas, and obviously, as you know, these are addicting foods. This is
Mhm.
a carbohydrate. Carbohydrate is addicting. I mean, it releases dopamine, right? So when you have that food, children feel hungry within 2 to 3 hours, and
Yes.
they're addicted to that carbohydrate, so they will definitely go with carbohydrate-rich food, right?
Yes.
And this is, I want to tell you a story. Actually, this is a short story.
Mhm.
My daughter, when she was in her schooling days,
Mhm.
every day she would bring some of the other chocolates or biscuits.
Oh.
Why? If anybody had birthday, they would
Mhm.
distribute chocolates or say cake or something which is something packaged, right?
Yes.
So, and she would eat in the bus, and then she would give me this empty packet and say, "Mom, I got this." And what I had to do, and she was just 5 years, 6 years old, right? This is young child, and I was so kind of worried about her metabolic health. So what I had to do, I had to tell her. Then, and she was addicted to it. Every day she says, "Mom, I want chocolate. I want this. I want that." Right? And what she was learning it from school. So what I had to do is to basically tell her that, look, put your whatever you get it in this compartment of your fridge. Okay.
Mhm.
I had to de-addict her. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
de-addiction required, I had to get her off that instant gratification. Right.
Mhm.
So first, and I would tell her that every Sunday, you can eat whatever you want, but you cannot have it on a day-to-day basis. I had to explain to her why and all. And of course, in her terms, because she was only 5 to 6 years old. And
Mhm.
then I kind of told her, okay, every Sunday. First Sunday she remember, okay.
Mhm.
Second Sunday she forgot. Third
Yeah.
Sunday I reminded her that have something because you have all this stuff lying in your fridge. Because she had got de-addicted,
So
as soon
interesting.
as she had that sweet, she said, "Oh my God, it's so sweet. I don't like it." Right? So
Oh,
thing is,
mhm.
yeah, and what mothers are not realizing, it's not just sugar which is addicting, it's even carbohydrate. So your rice, your wheat,
Mhm.
chips, everything is addicted.
Yeah.
So I just feel that mothers need to know this, not just rural mothers, but urban mothers, educated mothers, that
Mhm.
please put them children on high protein, good fat diet.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
it's okay. It's okay. Child does not need rice and wheat. Does not need it. Okay, there are some millets, ancient millets,
Mhm.
like you have your, foxtail millet, barnyard millet. I'm talking about for vegetarian mothers.
Mhm.
Do you have access to dahi? You have access to paneer, khoa, right? Your like your mawa. All that you can put it in child's diet, right? Child will thrive. Vegetables perfectly fine as long as they are not potatoes and sweet potatoes. Stay
Yeah.
away from starch. Starch
Mhm.
is nothing but the chain of glucose. And this is what I teach my IT students also, that starch is sugar.
Yeah.
It gets converted into monosaccharide, gets
Yes.
absorbed, and right there your insulin spike comes, right? So you
Yes.
want to avoid those, frequent spikes, right?
Yes.
I tell
Yes.
them vegetables are fine as long as they're above the ground. One fruit, small fruit is okay, depending upon the age group, and try to give more of low sugar fruit. Why to give them banana? What is there in banana? You know, give them fruit which is low on fructose and giving them vitamin C and other things. And vitamin C can come from lemon too, right? So,
Yes.
so many things are hyped. It's a
Yeah.
hype. Fruits are healthy. Who says fruit is healthy? You know,
Mhm.
I mean, if you look at children, another thing what mothers do,
Mhm.
they add fruit puree in children's diet. Why do you
Yeah.
have to put fruit puree in children's diet? I don't understand. And whatever, if they're making something, they'll put fruit puree because,
Mhm.
oh, child will take it, accept it. What they're not realizing, child will accept it, but they will get addicted to sweet taste. Then,
Yeah.
if you give them puree, spinach puree, child will not have spinach puree. They would want sweet taste. You know,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
it's all, and I don't blame mother only. Okay, it's also lot. This recommendation comes from a lot of doctors, pediatricians also. So
Yes.
it's a message for pediatrician that wake up, please wake up. You know,
Yeah.
come out of your that myth of carbohydrate is necessary. It's not necessary. Okay,
Yeah.
your child's liver is making glucose. You give them carbohydrate, which is healthy carbohydrate. Give them
Yeah.
vegetables, give them some ancient millets which are good in fiber. Avoid rice and wheat for sure. Okay,
Yeah.
and for non-veg there are other myths. Non-veg, they said, okay, no, 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 I can't give egg. Child is only 6 months old. Please start with
Exactly.
non-veg. Please
That
start
is.
with non-veg. Start
Yes.
with fish. Start
Mhm.
with egg. Start with meat. Start with, there are all these myths that we need to tell mothers. Get
Mhm.
rid of it. It's absolutely okay to give meat, because even if children are having two or three dietary, we talk about dietary diversity, right?
Yes.
And might tell mothers
Mhm.
and doctors also, if you're giving egg, if you're giving meat, if you're giving say liver, and you're giving some vegetables, okay, that includes all your, it has all the nutrients you require. Okay.
Yeah.
So when
Yeah.
they say that, oh, it doesn't have this, and oh, but you give vegetables, it has magnesium, it has potassium, you give
Yeah.
some seeds, you give some nuts, right? Why do you have to give rice, rice is nothing but filling your appetite, okay? So it gives it filling sensation to the child, but it does
Mhm.
not have any nutrients.
Yeah.
So, and I'm talking about basically those really white rice, and mothers feel the whiter the better, right?
Yeah.
Same thing for wheat. I see so much of gluten sensitivity in children. It's unbelievable. So I don't recommend wheat at all for children. If mothers can avoid wheat, I recommend that. Okay, why to give wheat? Basically, if you look at that book, Grain Brain, look at the complications of wheat gluten to child's brain, basically. So anyway, so I think this is what I recommend.
Yeah. Uh, Ma'am, it was a very wonderful insight that actually one more thing to add to this was kids naturally like non-vegetarian food, and many a times because of the various myths that prevail, kids are not given eggs and fish and meat at a very young age, and even doctors advise that against it, that they might have allergies till they turn years of age, and uh, it could lead to serious consequences. These kinds of advices come even from pediatricians, and that might be one of
Absolutely.
the reasons why mothers are skeptical about introducing
Right.
non-vegetarian foods to
Right.
their kids. Uh, Having said that, another question that comes to my mind is, what advice would you like to give to school administrations in setting the meal preferences for school tiffin?
Yeah. Oh, that's a wonderful question. Thank you, Asmita, for asking that. So definitely no packaged foods. Okay. So I would definitely tell at school administration to look at what children are getting in their school tiffin. No packaged food, no chips, no instant food again, like Maggie and any of those. Uh, of course, you
Mm,
can make pizza out of millet, millet-based pizza, and lots of cheese. Of course, tomatoes are good,
mm,
but again, look at what ingredients are used. Okay, so ingredients are more important. So
yes.
if suppose child is getting homemade snacks like chakli, or say
Mm,
homemade, but that again, it's like either rice or wheat fried in seed oil. That's not healthy. So even if it is made at home, it's not necessary that it's healthy. So, and another thing, what we have done at IIT Bombay, we have created this tutorials where we have created a lot of this snacks which are healthy, which
mm,
mothers can make at home, or cook at home and give it to children. Always focus. I think what school admission can do is to actually count protein in children's diet in that tiffin,
mhm,
and at least I would say 50% of their diet requirement should come from that school tiffin. you know I'm talking about protein, right? Good fats. Talk to You can also students can also learn about nutrition as young as 5 years old. If I can teach my 5-year-old how to get de-addicted, imagine older children. We can definitely talk about nutrition, teach them about protein, teach them about good fat, good saturated fat like your ghee, butter, your egg. Everybody's scared of egg yellow. Everybody. Why
yeah,
can't children get egg in their meal? I mean, if they get two eggs, that's very good. They'll right there, they'll
yes,
get 12 to 14 grams of protein. They'll get good, cholesterol. They'll get all the vitamins. Get basically egg omelette or burji, or why not non-veg food? I mean, why are we kind of saying that no, no, don't bring non-veg food to in a tiffin? I think that's one of the healthiest food the child can get. So
yes,
I think lot of recommendation, but they can also go through our. This is an open source health spoken tutorial IIT Bombay channel, and they can school admission can look at what all they can provide in the canteen also. You know, uh, we have not used rice, we have not used wheat, we have not used sugar, jaggery, nothing.
mm,
So, and mothers can use it also.
yeah. Uh, so that almost brings us to the end of the session. So the last question that I have is, what are the challenges, ma'am, you face while running the various child and mother care nutrition programs in the remotest parts of India?
Yeah. So the thing is, it's a new concept. It's a new concept, right? For healthcare workers of India, that okay, it's okay not to give rice or wheat. It's okay, you know what I mean? Because anyway, through PDS system, their children are getting rice. Even in their midday school meals, they get khichdi and all. But what we recommend mothers through healthcare workers, we have created nutrition dense charts. Okay, and what we do, we tell healthcare workers, show this nutrition dense chart which doesn't have rice or wheat at all. And once they look at each nutrient and their different sources, slowly, mother realize that, oh, they are getting very monotonous diet in children's food, or even their own, pregnancy nutrition, right?
Mm,
So initially, it's difficult because it's always, whenever you change anything, people, it's difficult for people to grasp it, you know. But as they start seeing results, slowly they take it forward. And once they start seeing results, not only birth weight has been now 3.5, 3.6 kg, imagine in tribal babies, which was 1.5 earlier. Okay, then they see amazing weight gain in newborn babies because we have changed the technique how they are breastfed, and their babies are gaining 1.5 kg a month, very much, you know. So many babies who have been followed properly as per our protocol, and complementary feeding babies are growing tall, you know. So what I feel is that slowly they are taking it up, but still a lot of we have to do a lot. We have to do a lot, and
Yes.
and I'm very happy that D-Life is working on metabolic health for adults. And I really kind of appreciate that they've given me this platform to speak about child nutrition too, because you know your health starts from preconception actually. So it's a nutrition through life cycle approach, and if we can start from there, then you know we will have a very healthy, tall, intelligent society. You know, right now we are regressing, unfortunately.
Yeah. Very insightful presentation, Dr. Rupal. Uh, as we come to the end of the session, I will request Shashi and Anup to please join in. And
Dr. Rupal, welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Sashi. How are you?
Fine, fine. Please get Ira in. She wants to ask a pertinent question to you.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hi,
yeah.
Dr. Dalal. Good to see you back after
Hi.
D-Life podcast.
Yes, thank you. How are you,
Always a
Ira?
joy to listen to you and so much information that you give. You know, it's kind of notes for me and for all of us. I would like to ask a question, Dr. Dalal. I am recently seeing a lot of rise in PCOS in teenagers. So, I have somebody I am currently taking care of, and she has PCOS, and her doctor has told her, that PCOS is very normal at the age of 15. What do you have to say to this?
Absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. It's just so. The thing is, you know, one thing what we need to do before talking to patients, we need to talk to doctors, because
Correct.
we need to train them in terms of the you know, pathophysiology of PCOS. Okay, pathophysiology, exactly what happens when a girl is getting insulin resistant. You know what it does to the hormones, what it, how it increases the DHS and all that, right? And I just don't understand that why is it so difficult for doctors to understand the pathophysiology, you
And
know?
and when you feed that to a child who's 15 years old, she was kind of resisting the approach that we were trying to counsel her with. And with this logic, not too much, but she was giving us this logic that if the doctor has said it, it must be right. And the entire point
Correct.
that I was trying to prove is that no, it is a very serious condition, and the repercussions, as you also said just now, can be, many-fold. So I want you to reiterate this, young girls having PCOS.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing is, first thing you want to do in PCOS is reduce your insulin level. So insulin gets secreted when you're eating a lot more carbohydrate-rich food. Okay. So which food has carbohydrate? Your rice, all your grains are carbohydrate-rich. So even your jowar, bajra, ragi are rich in carbohydrate. Okay. So what I would recommend for vegetarian girls, I would recommend to have a lot more animal source protein, like for example, dahi, paneer. I prefer paneer and dahi more than milk, because again, milk has a little bit more sugar. So when you ferment, like when you ferment it in terms of dahi and paneer, you know, that's much higher in protein and good fats. The other thing, they can also make Greek yogurt. So yogurt, they can basically strain that water, you know, and that will increase the protein content. Another thing is, you don't need to eat 5 times, 6 times a day for these girls. You know, when you eat nutrient dense food, you know, and of course have lot more vegetables, above the ground vegetables. You can have dals, okay. You can have ancient millets, not too much, like ancient millets, you know, foxtail millet, banyan millet, and then eat just 2 or 3 times a day, you know. And if you're not hungry, skip it. Skipping is absolutely fine. Go by your hunger cues. Do not have to go by clock. Okay. Third thing is, I do recommend 16 to 18 hours fasting. So intermittent fasting, even for adolescent, is very, very critical. I do recommend during first, 14 days of the cycle, I do recommend at least one fast, one fast, 24-hour fast in in a initial your follicular phase. Okay, 24-hour fast, water fast. You will feel great. It's not about just your ovulation, but it's also about your mental health. It's also about your metabolic health. It will help with that, because all these girls are. Have you noticed that all these PCOD girls have anxiety and depression also? Have you noticed that mental
Yes,
illnesses? It's
correct.
all
It's
all
also
linked.
food addiction, Dr. Rupal Dalal. It's
Absolutely.
also food addiction, like Dr. Jen
Absolutely.
Anwin yesterday said. There's a tool which is called Craved, CRAVED, and if you match up,
Absolutely.
to those levels of, each alphabet and what they represent, you know that you're addicted. And therefore,
Absolutely.
it takes a lot of counseling. And I wanted to bring this on this global platform for you to reiterate. Absolutely, she has all of these things in her diet right now that we have given her. But coming from a doctor, I think
Yeah.
this would make a lot of sense to
Yeah.
her.
One more thing I would like to reiterate is muscle resistant exercise. So I
Correct.
do recommend all the girls to start into muscle resistance. They look sexy. They look so good,
I
you know.
told her exactly
So
this. You will look
uh,
damn good, better than what you look now.
absolutely. And I take classes at IIT Bombay, and they were surprised that I'm 54 years old. I have a 22-year-old daughter, right? Why? Because I'm on this diet for 8 years, and I build muscle, I maintain muscle. So I go for classes, I pump, I mean, I do muscle and then I go, right? So the thing is, what these girls are not realizing, that if they get into insulin resistance so early on and they don't fix the solution, they'll start getting wrinkles. They start looking old. So I think it's important for them to understand all this thing, and for girls, especially boys and girls, they want to look good, right? So the way I
That's one of the
explain to them,
motivations that I
like,
start with. Yeah.
exactly,
I,
exactly,
I
to just look
totally
good. Yeah, yeah.
totally resonate with you, Dr. Dalal. Thank you so much for reiterating my point. I hope she listens to it. She will. She is quite intelligent, and I hope she listens to you. Thank you so much.
1 minute.
Sure.
We already encroached 4 minutes of Dr. Sridhar, but one final
Okay,
statement.
awesome.
I hope Dr. Sridhar will not mind. A person who has spent 35 years along with doctors in pharma, so I can state a few things that doctors now feel that fatty liver is very common in India. It is
Yes,
normalized, and PCOS is also normalized. It is common. And
agree.
another statement which is prevalent more in Maharashtra is that anyone who has PCOS or the cause of early puberty is due to dairy. They are wrongly blaming and taking people off dairy and all non-veg and putting them on pure veg and only grain. There's a vegan diet. I think it's a very dangerous trend. I just wanted to get this in
Yeah,
place so that people understand.
I
Thank you
agree.
very much.
I agree. Yeah.
Thank you.